10 minutes ago.
You know, I cannot do without you. That's how important you are, Mr. Etienne.
Of course. So we're on tab I.
Yeah,
I did open it.
but no, you didn't. You haven't.
Where's Vienna? Where's Vienna?
Thank you, Dr. Claude. Before we continue, I would like to recognize the presence of Mr. Jean-Ronald Kobi. He's the mayor of Cité Soleil in Haiti. Hi, stand so you can be recognized. Welcome. Yes. Pink. Magister Rose. You didn't hear that, Mr. Kobi, did you?
Yes, he did.
No, you did not. Did I put any color on you? No, I'm sorry. No. Welcome to North Miami. And you are officially invited to our parade on Thursday. We would like you to see how in the American culture, they celebrate Thanksgiving. In Haiti, we call it Action de Grâce. It's usually done in French countries in October, but in this country, it's done the last Thursday of November. And it's the biggest celebration the United States has that everybody agrees upon. And it's something wonderful to assist. So you will be with us during the Thanksgiving parade on Thursday. Thank you for being here. Okay. Anyone wishes to speak on the presentation FDOT have done?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125th Street in Sunkist Grove. The proposal to make a West 60 Highway, to cut it off in the southern direction, to make it more accessible going north towards Aventura is undesirable because it would make it the shortcut to Aventura for people going north would be taken away on our return trip. Additionally, the blocking of Northeast 124th Street has always been a gap or way of escaping some of the traffic on Northeast 125th Street. I did that today. Everything was jammed up on Northeast 125th Street, so I went down 124th Street. You want to take a Northeast 124th Street, put an island there, block it to where people won't be able to go. I'm talking about the map, the proposals that they have to block off Northeast 125th Street at Northeast 6th Avenue. Yes, Northeast 124th Street at Northeast 6th Avenue. There's a proposal to put a curb or gutter there, which would block, you would not be able to go from straight through the street. It would be blocked. My view, part of the problem with downtown North Miami is so many restrictions, so many one-way streets, so many do-not-enter streets that it becomes an impediment to get through the area. I'm sure that another solution can be found to expedite the traffic rather than closing down more streets, having more one-way streets.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Samuel Frederick. I'm a long-time resident of North Miami. My concern tonight, since we are doing recommendation for safety improvement, I live on 4th Avenue and 127th, which is a street that connects 135th Street and 125th Street. And during the course of the night, all day, cars are zooming on 4th Avenue by over 50 miles an hour. And you know there's an island in that particular street. And this is a residential area which kids are riding the bicycle on the sidewalk. My concern is, since we are talking about safety recommendation, I would like to propose for the engineer to make on their study to put a speed bump on that particular street so that we can slow down the traffic. And also on 4th Avenue and corner 125th Street, almost every week there's an accident in that particular corner. The reason why, because car is trying to avoid 6th Avenue. They cross from 135th to 125th and at high speed. And please, I'd like for them to study that particular problem and see if they can make some correction in the matter. Because I see that they said that their recommendation is from Northeast 5th Avenue to 7th. Actually, the 5th should be 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is open.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, John Stembridge. We've been meeting with FDOT for a couple of years, and they keep trying to sell the same bill of goods, and they haven't received any buyers yet. They met with the board of the Greater North Miami Chamber of Commerce, and overwhelmingly, unanimously, they rejected the plan. The previous city council here, the majority of which came out to the public hearing and spoke in opposition to the plan. Now, as a former mayor of this city, I still love and care for this city, and I want to see its best days yet to be in front of us. But I want to submit to each one of you as elected officials tonight that when you take that oath of office and you swear before God and every voter and taxpayer in this city, you swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and of our city. And one of that is that you will do everything within the power of the jurisdiction of your office to protect not only the lives of your people, you just wouldn't let people come in and murder and ransack your neighborhoods or your communities. Also, you would protect the property. And I'm here tonight to submit to you that if you go back and look at the selling of the bill of goods when they came to close off the major entranceway in this Dade County was West Dixie Highway. And when they closed it off, I ask every one of you and Mr. City Manager, you and your staff, to go back and look at the economic impact study that was given when they closed down West Dixie Highway, and tell me at a public hearing in the future if they told you how many closed businesses, how many moms and pops would be put out of business, how many employees would be unemployed, how many property values would be reduced so drastically, tax revenues reduced to this city, as has been done by the decision by these experts. And I want to submit to you tonight, there are other experts other than these right here tonight. The Urban Land Institute that was hired by this city was made up of architects, city planners, did a study, and they said that North Miami should not look at this 6 points as a hindrance, but as a highlight that North Miami should be a destination, not like an expressway to move people, like to move them on 6th Avenue and clog it up like 124th and 6th Avenue is clogged up. There are many ways to deal with safety than that. And if this is all about safety, isn't it strange that there is no statistics for 2012? And as Alan Bennett said, texting is now illegal. The accidents are going to go down. This body and this council should look after this city and revitalize the economic vitality of this city. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Joel Bennis, representing Colonial Village Shopping Center. I think that the main point that you're trading here is safety for economic development. A great case study of it is our vacant shops along West Dixie Highway that have been vacant for a long time since West Dixie's traffic was cut off. I mean, they basically took the main artery to West Dixie Highway and everything close to 125th Street down to 123rd Street, and we can't give it away. Every year we go to the property appraiser's office and we're petitioning because guess what? It's basically almost like a taking of the property because you can't rent it for what it should be renting for because there is no traffic. Retail is driven by traffic. They basically have taken the traffic away from us once. They want to give a little bit back to us now with the right turn going eastbound. But that 7th Avenue going southbound to 123rd Street over to West Dixie Highway, that's past our property. There's no traffic. There's not going to be any demand for that space and basically to increase your tax base here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Please come forward. A couple of more questions. Before the closure of West Dixie Highway, there have been a study done. Is that correct?
We had a traffic study done years ago.
Okay.
Actually, several traffic studies. The initial traffic study evaluated the intersection, and then the issue that was evaluated to resolve the problem was to close off West Dixie heading northbound, because what was occurring was vehicles heading north on West Dixie Highway was trying to get way over to the left turning lane to head west. And that was causing congestion at that location, and it was causing accidents.
Are you aware right now they're using the Bible
The parking,
Abram
yes.
as a street
Yes.
to cut
yes,
through?
Yes. Part of this plan is to resolve that concern, because we are aware they're still trying to get through the parking and getting through on Northeast 6 and cutting across to West Dixie. We will be resolving that issue with this project.
Okay. One of the other concerns that I have, when you are on 125th going north, there is 2 lanes that show if you want to continue on Dixie Highway, you have 2 lanes to turn. In reality, it's only one, because when you try the second one, it takes you straight to Northeast 6th Avenue. It's very problematic, and God knows how many accidents that have taken place on that particular intersection. And I understand people coming from, let's say, Biscayne Park, going north on 125th or West Dixie Highway, you would do what? West Dixie Highway will be one way until Publix, 128? Or the Goodyear?
Madam Mayor, I'm trying to understand. Heading north on Northeast 6th Avenue?
On Northeast 6th Avenue, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. And when you hit Northeast 6th Avenue, as
And 125th, what
And
would happen
125th.
in that particular huge intersection?
Okay, you have several options. You could go through the intersection to head north on Northeast 6th Avenue. You also have the option of heading to West Dixie Highway north. You also, what we did here is that we've added a left turning lane on Northeast 6th Avenue to head west on 125th, or you could also head east on 125th. So we sort of opened up the intersection
On 125th?
on 125th, yes.
Okay.
And the reason we're able to do that was, as mentioned earlier, through the timing, the fact that we took out the fifth spoke, which is the West Dixie Highway, we recalibrated the timing and provided for the other leg of the intersection.
Okay,
So-
because the nightmare starts from West Dixie Highway, going up 124 and turning on Northeast 6th Avenue. And you have traffic coming from Biscayne Park, and then that 2-way street, I believe it's 123rd, is it? Yes, 123rd. From Dixie Highway, they have to turn on 123rd, get on 6th Avenue to cross 125th Street.
Right.
This is where the nightmare sits in the afternoon.
That's correct.
And opening West Dixie Highway is not going to alleviate the traffic because they're gonna try to go on the left lane anyway to make a left turn on Northeast 6th Avenue.
That's correct, Madam Mayor.
So, are you thinking of doing something? Because Mr. Stembridge just talked about the businesses that are being closed, not profitable. What are you doing if you open West Dixie Highway to prevent traffic from going north on Northeast 6th Avenue?
Currently, that's the situation that exists. It's actually completely closed. What we did is that in terms of trying to alleviate some of the concerns they had with the traffic, we're reopening the right turn lane heading east on 125th.
On West Dixie Highway.
On 125th. Now, on West Dixie Highway, what we did is that we're adding a brand-new signal on 126 that allows vehicles heading south. If you're heading south on West Dixie Highway, we're going to have signs that direct you to Northeast 6th Avenue along 126, and that sign and that signal that's on Northeast 6th, 126, is going to be timed perfectly with the signal on Northeast 6th Avenue, 125th. So you're not waiting too long to get through that intersection. I'm sorry, 128? Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on. 128. No, that's not. 120. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Actually, on 128 and Northeast 6th Avenue, we'll have a signal that allows you to go west on 128th Street, then you head south on Northeast 6th Avenue. That signal that's at the intersection of 128 and Northeast 6th Avenue will be timed with the signal that's on Northeast 6th Avenue on 125th Street. Whereas rather than waiting for the time to get through from West Dixie and Northeast 6th Avenue, that although you'll be traveling longer along 128 and Northeast 6th Avenue, in terms of the waiting, the queue that you're waiting at the intersection, it's going to be much smoother along that leg, that travel leg.
It's not going to solve the lack of business issue they have on Dixie Highway. That little end, that little 1/4 of mile.
Okay.
It's the problem because they said there's no traffic going through there.
Right.
And I thought you were going to open it, but for it just to keep right, not to be able to close the street. I mean, put
Yes.
a median
Yes.
in cement. I don't know what it is.
Right.
To prevent car from jumping totally from the right to the left to try to make a
Right.
left on Northeast 6th Avenue.
Now, let's assume you're going south on West, let's say you get to West Dixie
If you're on West
Highway.
Dixie, you're going to go north
Right,
to
north.
hit 125th.
Yes, you,
Right now, it's closed.
right now it's closed.
And they're using the Bible store as a street,
Correct,
which is not proper, and it's unfair also to the owner of that store.
correct. That we have to keep closed. And the reason for that is that if we reopen that, we're going to have the same situation that we're trying to resolve. You're going to have people shooting across the intersection and trying to get to the left turn. That I cannot open. What we're proposing to do is that we provided the 123rd Street, which remains. We're going to improve on the signage. In addition to that, if you look at 124th Street, 124th Street was a one-way directional. Now we're going to make it two-way
Okay.
to improve that movement.
But it's a very short ride for them to get to Northeast 6th Avenue.
Yes, it is a short ride. In addition to that, although that you see a median at the location along Northeast 6th Avenue, we're looking to make minor tweaks to allow for vehicles heading north on Northeast 6th Avenue to also make a left towards 124th Street. Let me back up a little bit also. As I mentioned, I mean, one of the concerns was for traffic coming from the north side of the city and heading south, how would they get to the West Dixie Highway? They're going to have two options. Actually, they'll have three options. One option is, as I mentioned earlier, going along 128, heading to Northeast 6th Avenue. As they come across 125th Street, they will have the option of making a right on 124th Street to get to the businesses. That's one option. If they do not want to go 124th Street, they could also make a right on 123rd Street. heading south on Northeast 6th Avenue.
And then go and take Dixie Highway?
And they could reach Dixie Highway at those two
Well,
streets.
it's pretty much the way it is now, except that 124th would become a two-way street
Two-way,
instead of
that's
one-way
correct.
street.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. Also, another option is going down from south. Let's say you're on West Dixie Highway, you could head south on Northeast 7th Avenue, and also then go along 125th Street, then also make a left on 6th Avenue again, and then head 124th Street or 123rd Street. I know there's not like a perfect option. As I had mentioned for a long time, was that this intersection has been looked at continuously. And what has been happening in the past is that we've tried to find little solutions that really don't truly resolve the bigger problem. The bigger problem is this is working like a system of roadways. We had to go beyond the intersection of Northeast 6th and 125th. We had to open up the scope of the project to look at the side streets, and most of the side streets are city streets. By complementing Northeast 6th and West Dixie Highway with what's occurring along the side streets and resolving those movements, we came up with this solution. Does it satisfy every concern? It's not gonna satisfy every concern 100%. But would it get you to where you want to be as a city? I think it will. First, we're going to be reducing safety accidents out here. These are the residents of the city of North Miami using these streets. We're going to be reducing these accidents. We're going to make it more conducive for pedestrians to walk these facilities. Thirdly, the state had the option of coming up with a solution along 125th Street of removing parking. We were cognizant if we remove parking between Northeast 6th and Northeast 7th Avenue heading east, we would impact all the businesses along the area. So we looked at changing the movements along 7th Avenue to provide the opportunity to keep the parking in place. Again, is it 100% of a solution? It's not. I don't think there's 100. We're going to get to that 100% point. I strongly believe, and our team believe, that we reached a point where we're at least 90% resolve all the concerns that the citizens have.
The concern that the resident has regarding his street and the children, that's a city street. It's not a state street. So I guess the recommendation was done to city manager, but also on 125th going towards Griffin.
Right.
Who takes care of street lights here? We need a left turn signal there. It's ridiculous. This is where most of the traffics and the accidents are happening. After the bridge, when a car goes and then they make a left turn to go toward Memorial Highway, they must have a signal there. And all the traffic this afternoon was there because one car was making a left turn there and everybody else is stuck.
Madam Mayor, we'll definitely look at that to see what we could do. 125th is a state road. The area that he mentioned, also he mentioned 125th Street.
He's
and
talking
4th
about
Avenue.
4th Avenue.
4th Avenue. We'll definitely take a look at that.
Okay. Safety first.
Safety first is our #1 priority.
I agree. Thank you. Anyone else has questions for Mr.?
I would like to.
You have the floor.
Thank you. I attended those workshops. I think you've made a few changes since our last workshop, but the overwhelming group of people that was well attended were not in favor of this. And this is part of this is my district. The rest is Councilman Bienime's. And I know my constituents and the business people have suffered. I'm concerned with the southbound being diverted away. People may just not want to bother and not use our Dixie Highway. Also, I made a proposal of opening. I think it's great that you're going to allow a southbound turn onto Dixie from 125th. If we open Dixie, I propose that we could continue to use Dixie going north, make a right, and if you had blocked off the left-hand turn lane with barricades, people would not be shooting over to make a left turn on 6th. People would know that they could only make a right and go east on 125th, and I did not receive an answer on that. And I thought that was a fairly good solution where we could open up Dixie Highway again. That's really hurt our businesses. the businesses that you're not talking about on Dixie across from the Colonial Shopping Center, besides for that losing business, all those businesses on Dixie from the Bible store south, it's like a ghost town there. I would propose that you work on opening Dixie, going north, making a right, and just keeping a barrier, and people will know they can't shoot over. That will eliminate your accidents. So, those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Keys, I apologize if you did not receive our study, but what we did is that when we got that information, we did go back and evaluate the possibilities of reopening it and making it a right turn only. And based on the study, they did not recommend us to reopen it. And then again, the whole reason being that, first of all, in some cases in that area, you would need right-of-way, and secondly, based on the movement and disruption of vehicles merging in, merging out, it was not recommended by the traffic engineers.
If you kept the left turn only lane starting far enough west, then you wouldn't have the merging back and forth. You would be routing them all over on the left side. There'd be a lane, left turn only, like you get on the expressway, and people would have to get in that lane. You would eliminate accidents probably anyway with the people cutting you off, because they're doing it now. They're in the right lane, they're cutting 3-4 lanes over. If you have a lane that is 1 or 2 lanes specifically blocked for left turn only at that intersection, you would solve a lot of problems there. I'm not a traffic planner, though.
Right. I would be happy to share that with you at another time and show you what we
In that
did.
shopping center, there's the Presidente supermarket, very busy. Jimmy's restaurant, never empty. Which business has the closure of the Bible bookstore is working perfectly? Which business is impacted by the closure of Northeast? Because the mechanic shop is working properly. There's an entrance on Northeast 4th Avenue to go to either one of them, or going down Dixie Highway where they can enter to the shopping center. I'm not sure that I understand really the closure of businesses there. The impact. Public forum is closed, sir. Public forum is closed. You don't have the floor.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if he knows the answer to that, though.
Based on most of the meetings we had, their concern was the area between 123rd Street and 125th on West Dixie. And it was mentioned to us that they felt the fact that when we closed that, there was they lost their businesses. A lot
From
of businesses.
where? Which business?
I don't know specifically which business. I can't speak in terms of the businesses, but that was the area of concern where they said that they lost a lot of traffic, and the fact they lost traffic, there was a downturn in the businesses. Again, initially when we did this project goes back to 1990s, if I recollect. Ms. Lady, do you remember the first time we closed this? What was it, 1990?
12 years ago, 11 years ago.
1992 was when they closed that initially. A lot of things has occurred since 1992. Since now, you have, the economy. There was a downturn with the economy, which, they call it the Great Recession. So I'm sure maybe that had something to do with it. But, a lot of times people relate to what occurs in their lives. And during this time, we did have a closure of West Dixie Highway. But
We had a restaurant over there where the Lums was. I think that's one of them. And then you
It
had
burned down. Lums burned down. It was not because of the closure. There was a fire at that restaurant. I
but
remember.
the building died. I mean, there was just no traffic there. And then there are several little stores. South of that, there was the photography. I don't remember all the stores.
Jabo Photography, and then you had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 West Dixie Art Gallery that's gone out of business since then. The dance, theater, performing arts, names escape me, has moved because of the access. There has been severe economic impact to the south side of the 125th Street intersection.
Thank you, Mr. Galvin.
There have been many severe economic downside too because of the recession. Many of the businesses are being closed. On Northwest 7th Avenue, if you go there, it's a two-way street, and many of the moms and pops and professionals have closed down because of the impact of the economy.
yeah.
Do I hear a motion to move on?
Madam Mayor, may I have my 1 minute of time on that?
You have your 1 minute of time,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Galvin.
Bad idea, and I'm very disappointed. I've come to 2 or 3 public hearings where the overwhelming amount of people who were against this or who were in attendance were against these changes. I even personally was asked to write my comments on a sheet of paper and drop it in a bowl. The report that you've given us doesn't give us anybody's comments. I'm thankful to you that I wasted my time to come to your meeting and, at your solicitation, drop my comments into a bowl. This will do the same economic damage to the north side of Dixie that it did to the south side of Dixie. Rather than learn from our error and make some changes to improve it all, we're just repeating history. This FDOT is a bad, bad plan.
Do I hear a motion? Or anybody else wishes to speak?
It's so unfortunate that it's not in my district, but I usually followed the people that represent the district, except that all the district I belong to the mayor. I didn't hear from Mr. Bien-Aimé, so I'm assuming that there's nothing for
I'm
him
waiting for you to talk
to finish.
when you finish.
Okay, so I'll follow wherever that the commissioners from that district goes.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I have a question. I have a question for FDOT. Huh? No,
Then you just said you were done with it?
no, I did not say that. I have a question for you.
Mr.
What was
Mr.
the?
Bien-Aimé, I would like for you next time to ask for the floor, please, because we just said that you were done with it, that you were
Can I have the
finished.
floor, Madam Mayor?
All right,
We're
next
thinking
time, please
about
make
it.
sure that you do ask.
What was the last time you have a study about the closure of that intersection?
Well, the study that
The
we're...
last study.
The last study was the first time around, or... Because we're currently have one that we did. When was the last one?
When?
Remember?
1992.
And then after that? 3 years after? Yeah, we did 92 and 95. 3 years after, we have to do this, a study to see what are the impacts and improvements to the intersection. And what we found out is...
Kettleson did one in 2010.
Oh, okay, great. And then there was one also done in 2010 by Kittleson and Associates. And the reason we do follow-up studies a lot of times was sometimes you propose the changes and then you see how traffic patterns occur, you see if it makes an improvement. In this case, like I had mentioned, we did just a minor change, the ping prick of the intersection. We really didn't see this as a more than just a intersection project. We needed to look at this as a system project. Which one?
But at the same time, you're gonna make it one-way part of Dixie Highway, from 127 to 125th, right?
From 127 to 125th,
gonna be-
along West Dixie Highway?
Yeah.
Along West Dixie Highway, you're going to have, it's going to be two-way. You're allowed to go north along West Dixie Highway, but the key thing is that along West Dixie Highway heading south, you no longer are going to be allowed to have a direct connect to the intersection of Northeast 6th and 125th,
Okay.
which happens to be the location that causes the bottleneck and that causes the accidents. What manager just mentioned, point out to me, if you look at the with the pamphlet, the information we gave you, if there was something called the safety background collision diagrams, if you look at that, you could see that the intersection of 125th and Northeast 6th Avenue, it is still severe in terms of accidents. In addition to that, if you look at Northeast 125th and Northeast 7th Avenue, it still remains a high crash location. So the fact that we just looked at West Dixie Highway and 125th, the eastern, the southern side of Northeast 125th, that was not the only problem. The problem entails us doing a lot more than that. So that's why we're coming back and looking at a system solution rather than a location solution.
you're talking about safety of the citizens, and also I heard a lot of businesses talking about killing the business. And as a businessman, between safety and economic development, I will choose economic development. But at the same time, I have before me a signed petitions and by different residents in the city, and a lot of them are in my district. They're not in favor of that project. Even you're talking about safety, but they're concerned about the closure of about that project. And that's why, as a city council representing District 3, and I'm going to go with the businesses and whoever signed the petition, and I'm not ready now to vote in favor of that project.
Madam Mayor, I just talked to the, may I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was going through the documents, not yours, but agenda. I went online, but I was expecting for staff to give us a recommendation. Usually that's how we go about doing that as expert, because I am not an expert. I didn't do the study or look over the study. But apparently staff, I understand that they sit down with your team and they give suggestion but not recommendation. Two questions that I have for your staff, city manager, if you allows me. I know it's not a recommendation, but I still want to hear from your public works director regarding the impact that actually Mr. Sandbridge come before us and other business owners mentioned the impact that we create on the businesses. So I just want to hear what do you guys feel about it.
Aleem Ghani, Public Works Director. In talking to our transportation manager, John O'Brien, what he's saying is that the actual relocation of the, or rerouting of the traffic would create a slowing down of the, or create an increased economic development in the area. When I say increased economic development, based on his notes that that I'm reflecting, he is actually talking about slowing down the traffic and encouraging the businesses and the economic development as far as the new rerouting plan. Okay. What he's saying is that with the slowing down of the traffic and the rerouting of the traffic,
that will slow down the business growth in English.
Yeah, in English, what it does, it will increase the economic development by slowing the traffic down. By the rerouting of the traffic around.
How does that happen?
Okay.
If you don't have traffic, if people have a hard time to get to your businesses, how does that increase your economic development?
By slowing down the traffic, you can actually see the businesses. North Miami 125th Street, when I say see the businesses, 125th Street is a transitional route. Transitional route meaning they just go through 125th from I-95. What this rerouting will do is actually slow it down. So if there are businesses in the area, you could still, there is avenues for economic development. That's what I'm saying.
My other questions is for Chief, because I understand that the closing of that street is mainly safety issue. The study that just presented before us, is it something that our police department can stand by? Because I know I have been going around back and forth. I have not attest too many accidents, but I don't even live in the area. So I would ask the chief, in thinking how long is that study has done regarding the accidents, and if the chief can actually attest to that this is a safety issue, that maybe this is something that we need to consider. I heard for the last year we have 400 and something accident a year.
Over 5 years.
500.
5 years.
Over 5 years we have how many accidents?
400.
So that's
400 accidents.
I would have to double check, but off of Northeast 6 and 125.
Excuse me?
You're saying off of Northeast 6th Avenue on 125th?
The whole between, let's say between from Northeast Fifth Avenue to Northeast approximately 7th Avenue along 125th.
And
Over a 5-year period, 400 accidents.
Yeah, over 5 years.
over 5 years, I mean, when they say accident, you know, there could be a hit and run. There's different types of accidents that we're talking about, but as far as, do you have any data on the fatalities? I don't think we had any in that area.
We get the data from the state, which one? I'll let the district safety engineer explain.
Good evening. This is Ms. Ladies. I'm the district safety engineer. When we conduct safety studies, basically we obtain the police report from the Department of Highway Safety Motor Vehicles. The City of Miami reports submits the police reports to them. As part of safety studies, we're required to review each police report to understand the manner of collision, the time, whether the pavement was wet, and we look at all those details in order to develop countermeasures to reduce crashes.
If I may help out, Councilwoman, to get to the question that you're trying to get to, I believe that your accident reports do not reflect the last 24 or 36 months. I believe that they reflect when you initially did your study.
In 1990, 1994, probably.
And
We haven't had all these accidents, City Manager.
So that being said, the concern that staff should have is that how accurate is a report, how current is a report with the last 36 months. I will tell you that at that particular intersection, where we've had all of our red light cameras installed at, there has been a significant drop in accidents. And also the other concern is that when FDOT calculates their analysis, if an accident occurs at 4th Avenue or 5th Avenue, and as you had indicated, they attribute it to the intersection, whereas it could be because someone was stopping to make a right turn in an apartment driveway, or they were coming out, they would attribute to the intersection. So I don't know, and I don't think that your report will reflect the accidents over the past 36 months.
Okay. This is what my suggestion is. I would like to have a current report. I would like to table this item.
I'll second that.
Okay. And have current reports that shows actually what's happening. But 1994, it's not current. It's definitely not current, and you folks didn't even know that they had the 2010 study until Mr. Gani showed it. I don't think, this is my suggestion is, and I'm doing a motion for us to report this in order for the police, our police department as well, to bring us some reports regarding the accident rate, and then we can always bring this item back to the agenda.
Madam Mayor, let me respond to the manager's concern. Now, the reports that we get, they have come with specific diagrams. The team reviews the diagram for the specific location. It's not like a generic sheet that says there's an accident around this proximate area. There's a specific diagram that's laid out by the police officer, and that diagram is what we evaluate in order to see if that location is within the state facility.
Okay.
Secondly, in terms of the report that we mentioned, we say 5 years back. The last update that we has is as of 2011. There's a backlog in terms of when we can get a new year. And when do we get the new year?
It's going to be now in December 2012. Data is going to be available.
Now, 2012 is going to be available in December of 2013. So there's always a year delay in terms of when we get that accident data. This project that we've been working on it for the past 2 years. But so for the time that we've been working on it, this data is fresh.
Okay.
We will have a new.
I suggest, City Manager, that you bring this back before we go into recess, early week of December. Probably they'll have their reports. We'll have a better understanding of what's exactly it's happening.
Yes, Mayor, and we would also like to offer our data to you to review as well. It's easily retrievable, and that's the amount of accidents that our officers are reporting to see if the two match. So we'll be happy to do that, and it will give you a more accurate update.
Okay.
and we can put it on the agenda for December the 10th? Is
Yes.
that the desire of the
That is
dais?
correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We haven't
Mayor,
voted on it. We haven't voted on it.
Mayor, we have a motion to table by the mayor, and it was seconded by Councilwoman Stahel. Would you like a roll call vote? Or
Do we need to vote on it?
Yes.
We have a
Yes.
resolution, and
Just, you can vote to continue or to,
To continue.
correct.
That was the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to continue this item for next council meeting made by Mayor Thundro. It was seconded by Councilwoman Stahel. Mayor Thundro,
Yes.
Councilman Bieneme,
no.
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Galvin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Stahel.
Yes.
Item passes 4-1. Tab J,
Thank you.
an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending Article 3 under Chapter 7 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Procurement Code by specifically amending Section 7-151 entitled Procedure to Provide Preference to Local Business and City Contracts to include a local business suppliers or contractors having an ownership interest in residential property situated within the city of North Miami and designated as homestead property by the Miami-Dade County Office of the Property Appraiser, providing for conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Public hearing is open on this item. Public hearing is closed.
Make a motion to pass this ordinance.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys, you want to discuss this since you made the motion?
I have no discussion.
No discussion. Mr. Galvin?
No questions?
Mm-hmm. Councilwoman Sterill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
I don't have really a problem with the item. However, where it says, the third to the last paragraph, where it says, in residential property situated within the city of North Miami and designated as homestead property, I'm not sure why is it we have that language, homestead property. Why can't we have, citizen of the city of North Miami? If there is a difference. Well, actually, I know there's a difference. My concern is that anybody can actually buy a house and rent it, never live here, and claim that they are citizens of, or actually enjoy it. While we have people probably renters for the past 50 years, 20 years, and cannot enjoy the privilege of participate as vendor. So that's my question. I would like to make a friendly amendment to remove the word homestead exemption. If it's not, doesn't do anything, if it doesn't have anything legal to do with it, Madam City Attorney.
That's a policy decision.
Thank you.
Mr. Bienemi, any comments?
No.
Okay. I have a problem, a major problem.
Oops.
People who lives in the city, that have homes in the city, they do pay the taxes. And I don't understand, the city generates more money with businesses than with homeowners, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I don't understand why somebody who said they love the city, they go and open your business in West Palm Beach, and they want to conduct business here and being considered as local preference. It has nothing to do with local preference. If they're going to, they just have to take a number like everyone else if the business is located in West Palm Beach, even if the residents lives in the city of North Miami. Because the city generates more money with businesses than it does with homeowners. I don't know if I'm clear or not clear on this. I'm not getting it. I don't understand why would anybody who lives in the city choose to bring his tax dollars to West Palm Beach for me to give him consideration as local preference when indeed he made the correct decision to bring his money elsewhere. Why should I be the one giving him all these opportunities when he made a conscious choice to bring his taxes elsewhere? Why should I? I need somebody to convince me on this one.
I'm not sure where we're going, Madam Mayor.
Can we ask
I'd like to
staff for a
support it,
report?
but I'm not.
Yeah.
The spirit of.
And what are we telling our businesses that are opening in the city? Tell them, okay, you have a house here, go elsewhere. Don't worry, you'll have the same privilege. I totally disagree with this.
Understandably, Mayor, and if I can just add
I
a
need
point-
somebody to explain this to me.
Yeah, if I can add just a point of clarity, there are pros and cons to this. Basically, what this does is you're telling the homeowner who owns a home here that, and that's the reason why we put homestead, because homestead is a person that is actually paying taxes in the city. And because they're paying taxes in the city, for whatever reason, their business is not here. And the mayor and I had that same discussion. That is a point to be taken on the con side. You know, the business is not here. Does it compete with the other businesses who have their business tax receipt, certificate of use here? But the whole presentation of this was just to increase the local preference pool if it was at the desire of the council to proceed with this.
Then we're not doing our job in terms of attracting business to the city. If we have to give local preference to somebody who is in Ocala, Orlando, just because he says he resides in the city, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing in terms of attracting.
I agree, Madam Mayor. I'm going to withdraw my second as I misunderstood the intent. I thought this was giving additional preference to somebody who had a home and a business in the city. That I was in support of. But knowing now that somebody could live in the city, but their business is based in Texas, I don't think they should get the local business
But
preference.
not even
So
live
I-
in the city. If the person purchased a home in the city and rented and still have business somewhere else, they still qualify.
I withdraw my second.
Yeah, if you purchase, well, yeah, okay. You say homestead. If purchase, you have to live in it.
Right.
Thank you.
No, I think we need to do more effort. We need to encourage those that lives in the city and choose to invest in the city by opening a business in the city. This is the whole idea. By approving this, we're sending the wrong message out there. Hey, you don't have to go anywhere. You will get local preference. And I don't see why I should encourage this when we're supposed to be encouraging people from elsewhere to come and invest within the city.
Point taken.
Okay.
Mr.
So what's
There is no motion.
Now there's a motion, but there's no second, because I withdrew my second.
Okay, so I move that we don't even give any consideration to anybody who lives in the city and choose to bring their tax elsewhere to consider them as local preference. There will be outside businesses like any other business. The motion dropped because Vice Mayor
No
Galvin
second.
withdrew it fell.
So it fails.
Yeah.
So it's
The item failed.
He withdrew his motion,
No,
so the
so the
motion
whole
fell.
item fails.
So now the item fails. We just leave it as is.
So, amen.
Okay. Just for record, we have a motion, no second. Tab J fails. Tab K. An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, creating a new chapter 21 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Code Compliance to update, organize, and clarify the function of the code compliance process for the city of North Miami, subsequent to the recent amendment of the chapter 2 entitled Administration, approved by the mayor and city council, providing for conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Okay. Public hearing is open and is now closed. Do I hear a motion? This is part of the, Madam City Attorney, this is part of the cleanup you're doing in the
code of
or the code
ordinances, that is
ordinance.
correct.
And
Move it.
okay.
I make a motion.
Okay, I second. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll second it. What year was?
1974.
Don't ask. 19. What was the year that
74.
nobody has touched that ordinance code?
1974 something.
50 something.
1953 was like the
53.
original stuff that we reworked last year, so if this is part of that, 1953.
God, which means most of us were not born yet.
Certainly
said most
I
of
was
us.
not. Certainly
I said
wasn't.
most of us,
I've
Councilwoman. Councilwoman Keys, any discussion?
Yes, please. I've spoken in great lengths with our city attorney on our code enforcement compliance. This, from what I understand from the attorney, is merely almost identical language which has been moved around from other sections to make its own Chapter 21.
That is correct.
And this is a first reading. I think that I read it. I'd like to study it a little more. I don't have a problem with it tonight, but it may require tweaking. We are going to be doing other studies. The attorney is rewriting the Section 5, which is the building code. We have code problems with our nuisances, junk, noise. We have all kinds of code compliance. Speaking with the code enforcement officers, we've had a change in who's in charge of code. This has been changed over the years. I'd like to make sure that we have a cohesive code compliance department chain of command. And I have requested that we have a public workshop. There are a lot of citizens that are very interested in code, have a lot of ideas. Attorney doesn't really live here. There's a lot of people who live here, know what's going on, have a lot to say, have a lot of valuable input. So I'm requesting that we hold a workshop January. We talked about either the 13th or the 15th. It will be after we finally vote on this particular ordinance, but it will be before we go into finalize all the other code sections. And I'd like the public input because they do have a lot to say. So I'm asking for a workshop.
Councilman Galvin, you have the floor.
No questions.
Councilwoman Steril, you have the floor.
No, ma'am.
Councilman Bien-Aimé, you have the floor.
Thank you. No question.
Okay.
We have,
Do
You
we
have
need a-
already,
we have a
Madam.
motion.
You
It's been
done.
seconded.
Yes, we did. Second, I did. Madam City Attorney,
Yes.
you have already wrote, or are you just asking permission for us to go and give you the okay for the language and to put it up to this century?
Correct. It's reorganizing and deleting duplicative sections and moving the code compliance section that was previously in Chapter 2 and moving it to its own chapter so that it's more reader-friendly, so that a citizen can look at our code of ordinances and easily find
And
it rather
understand
than
it.
rather and understand it. And so to make it clearer.
Got you.
Yeah, so
Mr.
that's
Clerk, roll
essentially
call,
what
please.
it does.
Councilman Bien-Aimé,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Mayor Thundro,
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Galvin.
Yes.
Item passes 5-0.
Yay.
Tab L, discussion and approval regarding holiday lights for the Enchanted Place Homeowners Association.
I guess, Madam Mayor,
Public hearing is open.
may I give introduction?
Well,
Yes.
you have an introduction?
I guess. Well, I sponsored the item, so I figured I would give introduction, and I guess the introduction would really be to Ken DeGenova, the president of the Enchanted Place Homeowners Association.
Councilman and Mayor, I was here a couple weeks ago, and I also delivered to the Mayor's Secretary a little note for you to visit Enchanted Place of Miami. It is our holiday decorations that the city has helped us with for the last 20-something years. Parks and Recreation have come over with a bucket truck and an employee who helped put up the lights and help take them down. I'm not saying we're bigger than your parade, but we do bring thousands of people to the city of North Miami, and local TV coverage, CNN, probably some of these kids who were here earlier from the football team, if they've been brought up here in North Miami, they've been down our street. And I'm just looking for support from the city to help me get the lights up to make North Miami shine. So that's why I'm here, to see if we can continue the support. I know some of you are new, you may not have even been there. Enchanted Place is the first street on the north side of Elaine Gordon Enchanted Forest. And every year we decorate it for Christmas. This is our 25th anniversary, so I'm looking for continued support from the city. That's why I'm here.
I have a question, Madam Mayor.
I have questions too. Go ahead, Councilwoman. You have
No,
the floor.
after the mayor.
You have the floor.
Well, actually, this is, I have great memory about this street. I remember when my son was 2 years old. That was the first place that I actually took him, and I remember how excited that he was. So I still go there. He's 20. He doesn't go with me anymore. I'm assuming that he will probably take his kids if he's still living in the city. Mr. City Manager, what would it take for us to help?
It would require staff and a vehicle. The amount of hours would be several days to go down the street. They would have to assist every homeowner who has a tree closest to the street to hang those lights prior to the holiday. Then after the holiday, staff goes back out in the past with a bucket truck and over several days assist in taking those lights down.
If I remember when the different homeowners were doing the presentation, I don't think that they expect the city to do the entire street, because some of them still, vibrant, have their ladder, and I'm sure that they're willing and I'm hoping able to do their own work. So we're talking about those people that have been living in the streets but probably unable to do it themselves.
The trees that are closest to the street that are very high.
Okay, so how much money we talking about? Do we have any assessment how much that would cost the city?
Well, I would have to call Mr. Ghani. Maybe he has a report.
Because we're talking about many days.
Yeah, we're talking about
Mr.
Ghani, do you know what it's taken in the past? How many personnel, how many hours per day?
Apparently, from talking to staff, it was about 2.5 weeks with the bucket truck assisting in installing the lights.
And how many people?
3 of them.
So we've been doing that before without the council approval. Is that what I'm hearing? And it's been, what is it?
It hasn't been budgeted.
Junior.
I have a little history on that, but I know that the prior Parks and Recreation Director, Jeff Geimer, brought it to my attention that the financial impact to the city and the fact that it was not in the budget. So I was not aware that, as Dr. Claude is telling me, it was in the budget. This year it was not in the budget.
So how much is it? How much was it in the budget? Anybody can? Okay, here's Park.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I can get you the reports on what we have spent in the past for the financials, and also we're down 1 bucket truck this year. One of our bucket trucks is still in the shop, so it's not fixed. So we're down to only 1 bucket truck in the city.
So how much was it cost in the past?
I don't have the exact figures for you, but I can give you for 3 staff members. 1 which would be a coordinator, and 2 which would be our mechanic crew that holds the bucket truck. That's on the average. They're about $20 per hour for our coordinators.
That's what, 5 days a week for 2 weeks?
For 2.5 weeks, correct. For 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
It's $2,400 a month, a week. We have
about $5,000.
Yeah, we came up with a 40. The average person is making 20 hours, $20 an hour. At 3 people, that's $60 an hour times 40 hours during the week is $2,400. 2 weeks of that, that's about $5,000, and to put it up, and about another $5,000 to take it down.
Okay.
Wow.
That's $10,000.
May I make a
Let me
suggestion,
ask,
Madam Mayor?
hold on,
Sure,
Mr. Galvin. You did the presentation. Give us a chance to discuss it one by one. You done, Madam Steele?
My other question, I want to support that because I really enjoy the streets, but I'm trying to see how we can do it the right way since we spent so many years helping without the council approval, but I'm hearing that we had budgeted. So if we didn't have it in the budget, how would we proceed? So what do we usually do if we want to spend money for homeowners or an organization? So how do you want to, if we actually pass it, support it, so how would you go about doing it, where you get the money from?
In this particular situation, if the council passed it, we would have to pay for it through salary savings. As you know that...
I really don't want to discuss that salary
Don't go there.
saving
Don't
right
go
now.
there.
Please.
Don't even go there, City Manager. Ms. Councilman Bien-Aimé?
I have no questions.
No question.
And
I have a
want-
question. I have a question, and we trying to save money because we have big project, but yet this is a tradition. But 2 weeks ago, when the homeowners came here, and even the president now, the innuendos, you don't know if any of us have been there. It has been a destination for years. And we understand the little message that goes down. But I'm wondering, can the association raise some money to help the city pay for that? Because I don't think we should take the entire tab. If it's going to cost $10,000, I think you guys should make an effort. For all these years, you've been raising money for a good cause. But I think the association is able to raise money to help the city pay for the cost. I don't think we should go with the entire cost that it has been done for years. It's not correct.
Originally, it was voted upon in the budget.
Well, it's not in the budget this year.
Okay.
Now we're trying to see if the association can come up with some money. Let me speak to Mr. Galvin because it was your item. Is there a way the association can come up with some of the money? Because I don't believe the city should go ahead and pay for this bill in its entirety. The association should be able to at least, come halfway with what it would cost us to pay. To provide 2.5 weeks of services, 5,000 to go and 5,000 to come down.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just in full disclosure, I live on the street. I've lived on the street for 5 years, and not a single city truck has ever touched one of my trees. Because
So you're the one who does not decorate, because
Right.
I know
No,
there's
I
a
decorate.
home who does
He
not.
decorates. Trust me, I
Okay.
decorate. I just make sure I do it myself, as do most of the people on the street. And I have to tip my hat to Kinney. This is the 25th year that they've been doing this on the street. He's one of the founding fathers, and he himself is up there putting up 3/4 of the street lights himself. He's retired now.
Every year,
And
I'm
you're
out
here.
there.
So thank you, Kinney, for getting up there and risking life and limb to hang the lights. My personal opinion is that we could shorten the amount of time that the city spends on the street and just do those limbs that are really high up, so to speak, that neither Kinney or any other retiree on the street should be up there in our own, because the homeowners association does rent its own bucket truck to do things that are maybe 20 feet up, but some of those oaks that are 150 years old are way up there, and that's where the city bucket truck is actually a better deal. So maybe if we take that 2 weeks, lessen it to 4 days or something like that. I'm just making that up right now. And the street does do a collection for a children's AIDS charity, and if the homeowners group is amenable to it, maybe some of the money this year could go toward next year's, or however you want to phrase it, the costs of doing it. Because I think what happened was it's just always been done, and it's been done for so many years now that nobody thought about it anymore. And with the transition in parks, now it wasn't in the budget, and the homeowners are like, wait, Christmas is here, what do we do? So my suggestion would be to just narrow the window and go for the really tall trees, and then the homeowners could be on their own for the lower stuff.
So where do you suggest the money come from?
Madam Mayor,
Yeah,
may I-
where do you suggest the money comes from?
Honestly, the staff people are already on salary. I mean, I don't know how you want to phrase you could not know if you take the 2.5 weeks and you narrow it down to 4 days or 5 days. whatever that cost may be, then maybe the homeowners kick in half off of their collection this year.
Okay.
You know, that's just a suggestion. Given another year to really look into it, maybe the homeowners would be prepared not to have any city assistance. From everything I know about it, it just sort of, with the ERIP just went into effect October 1st, meaning that Jeff left, and then the new folks, it wasn't in the budget, so they didn't know how to handle it.
So how come you folks didn't put it in the budget?
I didn't know that it wasn't in the budget. Remember, full disclosure, I live on the street 5 years. The city's been helping with this for 20-something years.
May I have the
But
floor?
Vice,
May I have the
Mayor
floor?
Scott, they prepared the budget in June, not in October. When
May
you
I-
say
may I have the floor,
Jeff is not
please?
there in October.
Fair enough, and I don't want this to be about me. Please don't make it about me.
No, we have to,
No,
because it's
understand.
your
Why?
item
Because
and
you
you're
see,
very concerned,
the
and I
budget
understand
is
your
like
concern.
The
Yeah,
newest
yeah,
team did
it's-
not
it's-
put it in the
We
budget.
understand what happened.
May I speak, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. To say that the people, the residents on that street don't pay or contribute, they spend thousands on the lights, on their electricity,
Madam.
on the decorations.
Who are you quoting that says that?
You can quote me.
Who are you quoting that says that the residents are not contributing?
That they want someone down there, it was either you or Madam Sterile, said that they wanted the residents to contribute at least half.
I never said
That was me.
anything about that.
My
No,
goodness.
before that-
Madam,
before that there was
Madam
some-
Keys,
Okay.
make your point
Don't
and
spoil
let's
it
move
for
on.
them,
Okay, let me
because we're
speak,
trying to
please.
support them.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
trying to support it. Don't spoil it for him,
Okay,
please.
I'm not trying to spoil
Okay.
for him. I'm just saying that they do spend a lot of money and a lot of time. And like Councilman Galvin said, we're not looking to spend an additional $10,000 in time or overtime. The park staff is already there. We're just going to be diverting them for a few days to something else. And I don't think it's an additional amount of money that comes out of the budget. I think it's just park, you go to this street, and if they can do it for a little less, I'd be in favor of it. I think we should support it. It's a fantastic street. It gives us
Thank you, Madam Keys.
recognition.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me
Mr.
to
Clerk,
speak.
I would like
May
to
I say
make a
something?
motion. No, sir. Thank you. You may sit down. Mr. Clerk, what is the motion on the floor?
We have no
I would
motion
like
on
to
the
amend the motion.
There's no motion.
There's no motion.
Discussion.
No, Mayor.
Okay, so I would like to make one then. Is to ensure that we identify first where the money is gonna be coming from, and the association must accompany the city in the expenses that will occur in these weeks. Since they already have their truck, so we don't have to use the truck. I understand that Mr. Derek just said that one of them were in the shop. So we can use their truck, but use city staff, but it's okay for them to, under the condition that they pay half of the expenses.
Just for clarification, the one that the homeowners rent is a small sort of rinky-dink. It
Oh.
won't go as high. That's the request for the city
Okay.
truck, because it goes higher and reaches the higher limbs.
Now, since you said one of them is in the shop, which means if we have one of the trucks that is not busy doing residents' business elsewhere,
We have one of the trucks that is currently down. So it's in
How
the
many
shop
do we
for-
have?
We have 2 trucks total.
Only
Or
2?
2 bucket trucks total.
See,
We have
next
one that is
budget we need
down, one
to
that we
purchase
are
more.
currently using.
Oh.
If we assist with the homeowners for the bucket truck, that will leave us without a truck to do services throughout those 4 days that Mr. Councilman Galvin is alluding to, or the 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks that we normally would use.
But
to
what
allow.
about using it on Saturdays and Sundays?
That will be overtime. Our
That would
staff
be- yeah.
usually
Well, if
works
they're paying
Monday
for
through-
it, it's okay.
No, they-
Our staff works Monday through Friday, unless we have special events, which
No,
are
don't do
then
that.
still give it for overtime for our park coordinators and other employees that work on the weekend.
Mr. Manager, how can we arrange this? Because I don't believe that the city should foot the bill since it was not part of the budget. How can we?
What if
what
we
can
move the
we-
motion first? What is the motion?
Can I,
Well, I'm trying to see if I can formulate a motion asking them to pay half of the cost that it will cost.
I think Scott already mentioned the same thing.
It was not a motion.
Well, we can make it.
Let
You
him
wanna
make
make
his
a motion?
motion, what he
Yes,
wanna
ma'am.
do.
Thank you.
Go
I
ahead.
will motion that the city truck between now and December the 13th, which is the first night of the lights, that between now and the December the 13th,
That's not
that
4 days.
a city truck be used no more than 4 days, 4 business days, regular business days, not weekends, not overtime, 4 regular business days, no more than 4 business days,
Okay.
with the homeowners association agreeing to pay half the cost, assuming, and not knowing what that cost is, not knowing what they have in their budget or their account, that assuming that it's something that both sides agree they can afford, that the homeowners group pays half, otherwise, nothing.
Okay, but with the understanding that the truck is repaired, because there's one that is in the shop, I understand.
Yeah, there are 2 trucks actually. Public Works do have one of the trucks and that do the hanging the banners. One of the smaller bucket trucks, as referred to. The other one that is required by the Councilman Galvin is the bigger one or the larger truck to get up to the higher limbs. We have one of those right now that we use on public right-of-ways to trim the trees.
Okay.
And that's the one that we will be using to do that. So
And all I'm asking is 4 business days between now, November the 26th,
Right.
and then December the 13th.
Here's-
No more than 4 business days.
Here's my question. I'm in full
I second
support
the
of
motion.
that. I heard that you guys mentioned one truck many times.
Yeah.
Does that mean that before the holidays, there are a couple of works that you guys were trying to accomplish that probably if we're using that trucks, you won't be able to do so?
that's what I'm leading to, because some of the smaller jobs that they were planned with that truck right now might not be able to get done.
And how long would it take for the other one that is in the shop to be ready?
To give you a time, I would not be able to until I talk to
But still,
staff.
it would not serve the purpose because it's the little one that
That's
works.
correct, yes. And the smaller truck is what we use to hang the banners and to hang the smallest, that's what we use them for.
Do you guys, since I'm not sure of the amount of work that you guys put, 2 days will help, Scott?
We have a motion for 4 days.
I was just saying
In
4.
second
I
the
mean,
motion.
Honestly, if it was 2.5 weeks in the past,
Correct.
they weren't working at their full tilt those 2.5 weeks. I'll be honest. I drove up and down the street over the years, and I said, "These guys are still here doing that one street. Okay, I'm keeping my mouth shut because these are my neighbors. You guys are making it real difficult."
No, Councilman, what I was
No,
told.
I mean, I don't get the ha ha ha. I mean, I
No, what I was told by
honestly-
staff, because I was told to find out how long it took. It
So
took
you
2.5
have the
weeks,
floor.
Right.
and actually that's the time that was given to me from staff. I'm just quoting exactly what staff told me.
Okay, 4 days, no more than 4 business days.
Mayor?
That's all that I'm suggesting.
You want me to read your motion? Because we have a motion in a second. The motion made by Councilman Galvin was city truck to be used between now and December 13th. A city truck must be used no more than 4 regular business days, and the association shall be willing to pay half of the cost. And it was seconded by BNMA. Did I get that correct?
Yeah.
Now,
Where's the money coming from?
Mr. Ghani, you did say that there is a plan.
We have other areas in the city that the large truck we use for. We'll have to curtail some of those to get this done.
So can the truck be alternate? I just want to make sure that we are, not penalizing the work that needs to be done in the city in conjunction with that particular project. Can it be alternate? Sometimes you have the little one and sometimes the big one that would allow you to do the work for the city.
We'll have to look at it, and we'll try our best to accommodate.
Okay, now Mr. Galvin, do we have an okay that because the association might say, we never said we would pay the other half? Through you.
Mr. DiGenova, you're on the spot right now. We don't know the cost of what it would take for 4 days. We don't know what it would cost the homeowners association. If you look at your budget, if you look at your revenue and you don't have that money, are you willing to agree there will be 0 days of service from the city of North Miami? I heard him say yes. In other words, let's say it costs $10,000 for those 4 days. If they don't have $5,000 to cover half, nobody from the city sets foot on the street.
Okay.
It's either half or it's nothing.
Okay. Madam Attorney, what the deal Mr. Galvin just closed with us, is it okay? Is it okay? Is it clear? Is it legally binding the homeowners association?
Are you speaking for if you could just come to the microphone, sir?